Before we get into it, and I know James just touched on it, I was an MBA student last year. I am not currently an MBA student. My paths took me on a different route, and this is one of the things that I'm going to talk about. Now, the question is, to be or not to be an MBA? And there's a lot of pros and cons, there's a lot of things that we debate about, a lot of personal, soul searching, like I like to call it. Because an MBA does come with a lot of things. It does come with a lot of, or at least perceptions. You're an MBA, so you did the whole university thing. You think it should lead to a more glamorous position in life. It should lead to six-figure salary, stuff like that. And it's not wrong. However, it really depends on the position you are in life. Do you choose to remain in your career stream, or do you expand your options from MBA? Most people I've met, and I'm talking just personal, not research, but 80% of the people that I talk to say they're doing an MBA because they did not like what they were doing and they're going somewhere else. So they did an engineering degree, but they hate numbers. And they want to do something else, which eventually will probably be with numbers as well, but in another position. They did science, but they have a passion for marketing. So this is why people decide to do an MBA, to expand their options versus remaining in their career stream. Now, this is the reason why we do an MBA, for the success. Because you two can own the face of pure accomplishment. I mean, really, why are we going to go back in your mid-20s or early 30s, back to waking up at 6 a.m. or pulling all-nighters to study and, being back in high school kind of thing, right? So, and by this point, most of you have seen Professor Friedman or most of them saw talking Black Swan versus earthquakes and whatnot. This is the first upgrade. Let's do an MBA. You wake up one day and say, I want to do an MBA. Pros and cons. Anybody fan of How I Met Your Mother? Bring out the legal pad. Let's start writing on the left side, what are your pros? On the right side, what are your cons? Your pros, like I said, you can make a better salary, you can actually take a new career, new position, and sort of complement it with what you've already lived with, all right? Cons, you're back in school, all-nighters, and whatnot. So, at the end of the day, 100% of you here said it's more pros and cons, right? So let's do an MBA. What do I do after the MBA? Because we've gotten to the point where we're saying, okay, now we're in school and we're enjoying our back to student life. Well, what happens after the MBA? One of the biggest things that I've heard outside in the market, and now that I'm actually not a student anymore and stepped outside again, I see it from another point of view, where people say, well, I'm an MBA. I deserve, I demand. And I hear that 95% of the time. That doesn't mean that that's what you're going to get. Expectations versus reality. Expectations, you get a six-figure salary and you are the boss. Versus reality, you have a lot of student loans to pay. And 50% of the people did get their dream job. Don't get me wrong. They did great. The other 50% got an amazing job that paid them exactly what they wanted, but they're not happy doing it. So, the cost-benefit analysis that Jen just presented applies there as well. For most of the graduates from Schulich itself, they are in that same position. A lot of them got jobs, a lot of them didn't. A lot of them got jobs and aren't happy, and are looking at doing something more entrepreneurial. And that's why they talk to me a lot, because I've opened a couple of companies here and there. Did they have a great time at Schulich? Yes. Did they cherish their experiences at Schulich? Yes, because Schulich is an amazing place, amazing school, amazing alumni group. And you know what? You go anywhere and you meet a Schulich alumni, they help you, they talk to you, because it's a family. So what do? Change your expectations. You have to change your expectations. I had lunch with the president of Level 5 strategy group. First thing he tells me is, I have a student from Rodman who sits down with me and says, I'd love to work for Level 5. $120,000 a year. How much experience do you have? 3 years. Pre-MBA. Not post-MBA. And this is something that we see quite a lot of. People who say, well, I did the MBA, so now I deserve. We need to change our expectations, because most of us are changing our career path. You were an engineer, you have zero experience in marketing. You have an MBA, that doesn't mean that you have what it takes to run a multi-billion-dollar campaign. It means that you are an integral part of that campaign. And we have to find a place for people to go and grow with the company. So why did I want to do an MBA? And why will I continue to pursue my MBA elsewhere and a different curriculum? I graduated from Concordia in Montreal in 2004 in political science and public policy. I did 2 degrees. Leaving Concordia, I worked extensively in politics. I worked at the UN for multiple years in the Netherlands, in Ottawa, in Montreal, at the ICAO. I also was an advisor to the Ministry of Immigration of Quebec. So it was a lot of public policy, a lot of writing, a lot of speaking. A lot of my roles took me towards the PR aspect. So this sort of led me to start taking more PR courses and marketing courses, which in essence also took me to doing a lot of political campaigns, 8 so far. So I did courses at McGill University as a graduate degree, and at some point in my life I said, you know what, enough is enough. I went to the UN because I wanted to save the world and feed the kids, and and it didn't work, and it doesn't work, and you know what, that's the expectation. So what did I do? I went and I opened my own company. I got a $30,000 loan and negotiated with my parents, and I said, you will leave the basement to me, and I will build a door on the outside of the house, and I will have employees come to the basement and actually work. And this I did. And I did this for many years. And I had 5, 6 people coming to my basement every day, 9 to 5. And slowly but surely, we grew the company. Since the company's open, we've had customers like the Provincial Liberals in Quebec, Conservative Party in Quebec during elections as well, multiple nonprofit service companies, Fashion Week, Montreal, manufacturers, small and medium businesses as well. All to say that I've seen a lot in terms of the business world. So what am I doing now that I'm not at the MBA anymore? Well, I still own part of the company at SI Communications, so I do some consulting for them if the opportunity arises. I mean, we do have to make ends meet. But I also decided, with a couple of Schulich classmates, to open a new company, a new venture, called the Fashion Society. Fashion Society, we do wholesale and retail of fashion items. I'm not going to go deep into that because that's not the reason why I'm here. But just all to tell you that the entrepreneurial bug is what I was trying to get away from by doing an MBA, and I ended up doing it again. The whole thing with me doing an MBA essentially was, I look back at my life and I say, well, you know what, I've worked in politics, and now I opened a company, but where's my safety net? And a lot of people, particularly if you talk to HR people, they'll say, well, if we hire you, we'd like to see an academia attached to it. So if you're a specialist in marketing, I want to see an MBA specialization in marketing. Why? Because if you don't work out, she doesn't lose her job, or he doesn't lose his job, because it says you went through the whole paces of your academics, right? Versus, how many people do you know who have 20 years of marketing experience but no degree, get a job immediately in marketing? They have to start from the bottom and get retrained. These are realities in life that I see every day, and there's things that they don't talk about before you come into an MBA. So, before the MBA, we're all on the bottom. We're all taking the shit from the boss. And one thing we dream about doing the MBA, to not take the shit from the boss, so we can give it, right? After the MBA, are you sure you're gonna be there? So, in essence, what am I trying to say? An MBA is a channel that's gonna sort of accelerate you to get to your objectives. It doesn't mean that just by doing an MBA, you will leave with a $150,000 a year job. It means that now you have the tools, the networking, the social skills to actually go out there and do something so that you can get it. Just the MBA at the end of your name will not do anything, and I meet people like that every day. And in my line of work, I have met some very impressive BBAs, some very impressive undergrads. And why are they impressive? Because at the end of the day, you can teach a lot of skills, like math, and science, but you can't teach those social skills, which is what we're here to learn. The EQ quality of an MBA. So how to get to talk to people, how to learn how to understand their expressions, how to be able to tune in to something that makes them sort of link with you in a personal level. And that is where you grow academically. So, after the MBA, what? Aim high. What's the worst that could happen? That's it. Thank you.